Hi guys, my name is Brad Stewart, and as my group has probably mentioned, I am out of town tonight. So I have the unique opportunity to pre-record my portion of the presentation and give it to you guys this way. So thanks to my group for allowing me to participate, and away we go. We're going to talk about Chapter 18 tonight and pricing for international markets. As you guys know, setting and changing prices in any market, much less international markets, is key to the success of your company or your product or service. And so setting the price correctly can basically make you or break you. You can produce the right product, you can have the right service, you can put it in the right distribution channels, you can do all the right things. If you set the wrong price, it's not going to work, and you're more than likely going to fail. Either that price be too high or too low. And so making sure that we set the price correctly is of utmost importance within any form of business. Foreign markets especially, they have special costs, market conditions, competitive factors. Everything that we've talked about throughout the semester really goes back to the fact that you really need to research. Research is going to be the most important thing you do when setting your initial price, right? Know the ins and outs of the country that you're doing business in, understand how your product or service fits into the market, the competition, who's there, what products are being offered that are similar to yours. Know the specific market conditions. You really need to understand what you're getting yourself into when you're entering these different markets. Things to keep in mind: tariffs, other importing costs, and then potentially exporting costs, as we'll talk a little bit down the road. The attitudes of the market that you're in, the competition, currency fluctuations. There are a lot of things that'll affect your pricing, and all of those, including a number of other things that you really need to be aware of as you set your price. There are basically two pricing strategies that are the primary ones, and so it's active and static pricing. So an active pricing model is for a company that is active in the international markets, and they use those international markets as a way to hit their targets, right? It's a predetermined focus for them, and they really spend a lot of time and energy within international marketing. So an active pricing strategy will help a company hit targets, sales volumes, profits. That they really are international marketing and sales is a focus for them. Static pricing is more for a company that uses international markets. It's a very low priority, right? They'll ship excess inventory over to international markets and kind of enjoy the benefits of that, but it's not really their focus. And so active, they're really active in the international markets. Static, it's a secondary market for them, but they do enjoy some of the benefits of increased sales within international markets. So now let's talk a little bit about parallel or gray markets, and it's not. I couldn't do it justice, so let me just read you word for word what the definition is here. So gray market goods refer to legal goods that are sold outside of normal distribution channels, and this could be for companies that have relationships within those markets or not, right? Frequently, this form of parallel import occurs when the price of an item is significantly higher in one country or another. So high profit margins make a company or a product very vulnerable for a gray market or parallel markets. And so it happens a lot in pharmaceuticals, right? For example, Canada has much cheaper pharmaceutical products than we do in America. Viagra, for example. Viagra went crazy in the US for a while, and in Canada you were able to go up there and get it for a significantly lower price. And so licensed retailers of American pharmaceuticals would go to Canada, purchase the product, bring it back to the US and sell it for a much greater margin and really enjoy that. So that created a parallel market or a gray market for some of the pharmaceutical companies, and it happens with electronics. Apple is one that probably has some gray market issues, and so that's what a gray market or a parallel market is all about. Companies are very active in trying to find ways to control this because it's eating away at some of their margins, right? Obviously. One thing that companies do is they will offer exclusive distribution rights to a company. And what they'll do is they'll either offer it to one company or maybe just a few. And that way they're limiting the number of channels that their product is available to certain customers in certain markets. And so that exclusive distribution, again, gives them a way to try to control the gray market effect on their margins. The one thing that happens often with that is that for example, in the U.S., an exclusive distribution contract probably has a 25% higher markup than it does in another country. Mexico, Canada, and I'm using North American countries just because I'm more comfortable with them. But if you have a 25% higher margin on a product in the U.S. and you can go to Canada or go to Mexico and get the same product, it's still going to be an issue. And so the exclusive distribution, it may limit it, but it's not the whole answer. And so companies are continuously trying to find other means of limiting the gray market. Now we should talk a little bit about pricing models. So a full cost versus a variable pricing model. A full cost model is one in which a company will have a product bear the total share of its fixed costs for manufacturing or production, right? And so, full cost pricing, no matter where a product or service is sold around the world, they're going to charge the same price wherever it is. A variable cost model, and this is back to some of the static pricing that we talked about. A variable cost pricing strategy is one where they'll sell their product in the U.S. for $9.99, and then they'll have the opportunity to sell it in Canada or maybe Mexico or another market for a very reduced price, maybe $2.99 or $4.99, and they're using that static pricing model, and this is a variable cost model, and so they don't have consistent pricing wherever they're selling their goods and services. Price skimming, and so take a step back. So now we're going to talk about price skimming versus price penetration. So price skimming, this is back to Apple, right? This isn't a scenario where the customers are very price insensitive. They really don't care what the cost is. So for an iPhone, you could probably charge, $299, $399, $499. People are going to pay that. And again, this happens. Larger margin products, they're willing to pay a premium, and so that's price skimming, right? Where the company's got a product or service that people are price insensitive about, and they're willing to kind of just take that margin and run with it. Price penetration model, this is more like Walmart, right? Where they are going to cut their prices to gain volume or just to gain market share. And so Walmart, they're willing to make their money in volume and not so much in each individual sale. And so they're definitely using a price penetration model. And you can use that in international markets. If you've got a product or service that's similar to one that's already existing in an international market, you can just slash your price and try to make up your money in the volume rather than in each individual sale. And so that's the difference between price skimming and price penetration. As these international markets continue to develop, the pricing pressures are going to become greater and greater. At the same time, you're going to have these international markets. They're raising their per capita income, and so they're going to want a lot of the same things that U.S. customers want in terms of value versus the cost of the goods sold. And so as this happens, pricing strategy is going to become more and more important for every company. And so I'm going to turn it over to my team now. Thank you guys again for allowing me to do it this way. I wish I was there with you, but we'll definitely catch you guys next week. Enjoy your evening.